Welcome to the Geek Out Room podcast. You can get audio only episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can get the video version on the Sauceless Entertainment YouTube channel. With that being said, today we are geeking out about the anime series IGPX. So, IGPX is really interesting, and we will talk about some spoilers, and not even some. There will be spoilers in this episode, so if you haven't seen it, you probably need to stay away, and you should come back after you see it. But IGPX is one of those forgotten anime into the history, but it is history in American cartoon history, which is very interesting, right? Because IGPX debuted in, I think it was, what was it like? I think it was like October 2005. It was right around when Naruto made its United States debut. So Naruto and IGPX made their debut on American television the same year, which was 2005. And not only that, that's not the only reason why it's in cartoon history, but also because it is Cartoon Network's first ever original anime. I think it was their first ever original show, but I'm going to stick with its first ever original anime. And I believe it was also co-produced or created by Production IG, which is very interesting. And I love Production IG stuff. And to me, this is like one of my favorite, if not my favorite thing that's come out of Production IG. And IGPX is, imagine this. Imagine F1 crossing over with Speed Racer, crossing over with Gundam. Because it's essentially these robots that can fight, but also it's a racing show. It's a sports anime. It's these robots that can race, and then they're boxing at the same time. And you have teams that are made up of 3 people. And for the main characters team, it's the main character, Takashi Jin. I believe one of the girls, she's a white girl, it's Amy Stapleton. And then the third one is Liz. And Liz was my favorite character, not only because, well, she got Millennia in her, but also it was Liz, I believe, was voiced, not even believe, Liz was voiced by Michelle Rodriguez from the Fast and Furious franchise. So, my first ever cartoon crush, Liz, and mostly because Michelle Rodriguez's voice is phenomenal. So, this show is so interesting because it's a 26 episodes long, right? And it's not the strongest show plot-wise. It doesn't have the strongest characters, meaning like the characters don't have a lot of depth to them. But it's a show that for a 2005 show had solid animation, had solid pacing, and again, made racing very interesting because I did not know anything about F1 in 2005. I didn't know anything about F1 until like a couple of years ago. And, well, no, until I really found out who Lewis Hamilton was like years ago. And IGPX, why it's so similar to F1, especially if you've seen like the latest F1 movie, you see how much technology and how much care and about the sponsorships and the board and how much money it takes to own an F1 team and all that stuff. And the drivers and how important the drivers are to communicate with their team and all that good stuff. And how much physicality in terms of training goes into being a racer in general. And IGPX introduces that concept where shows like Speed Racer didn't necessarily do that, right? It kind of like just showed the racing part, which is fine. Speed Racer is like from the 60s or something. But IGPX showed that you need a level of fitness to race. And not only that, you need some type of fighting technique or will because you are essentially mini Gundams that can race and you're fighting at the same time. And the trio of Liz, Amy, and I almost said Takato. I just did a Digimon video not too long ago. Takashi, they're interesting. I think Amy kind of gets forgotten about. Amy does have a cat. She has a cat as a co-pilot, which is cool. But again, this show is really wonky, but it's cool. But Liz and Takashi have a very interesting relationship throughout the whole story because Liz is a lot more extroverted than Takashi's character. And Takashi just likes kind of playing on his Game Boy, wherever the hell you playing on. He kind of likes to act aloof sometimes, but he really cares about winning and he really cares about racing. And that's what makes him a really strong member of this team because he can use his prodigy like skills and his determination mixed with Liz's wild antics but love for her teammates and her team and Amy's strategy and how Amy likes to approach the racing as well. Like they all have their different ways of approaching to gain the same goal. And again, their tension between Liz and Takashi come from a lot of different ways. Like again, the way they approach life, but also racing, but also a lot of people. This is a huge spoiler for the end of this series. A lot of people had issues with Liz Takashi basically admitting they liked each other and kissing. I wasn't as surprised because Liz had a lot of issues with Takashi dating a member from a different team. I forgot that girl's name. I think she was French. And he was dating someone from another team. And this is a co-ed league, obviously. So that means you're going to face other opponents. So dating people from another team is not always wise because you have to face them. And this sport's dangerous. I mean, racing in general is dangerous. But imagine mixing F1, again, with robots that can fight each other. You're racing and fighting at the same time. So you could actually, you could kill someone. You could injure someone. Because again, you're literally punching them. You're punching each other. So it's a very hard sport to face someone you're romantically involved with, and especially in a co-ed league, that would definitely happen. And I like that this series showed and showcased what it would be like in a co-ed league, and to show kind of like what celebrity dating can be like, and what they had to deal with about disguising and having to meet at weird hours and hiding. I don't remember they hid the relationship from their team in the beginning or not, but like just dealing with that, and then dealing with having to compete against one another. Because they're both, at the end of the day, competitors. They love competing. A lot of people in this show, because it's a sports show, love competition. They love to compete. They see each other as rivals more than peers. And so it was an interesting dynamic, and I love that they kind of layered the show with that a relationship. But I say all that to say as well, Liz was jealous of that relationship, but also kind of angry because she knew Takashi was holding his punches a little bit. He's like, yo, forget this girl. Like, you're on our team. We're here to win. Like, we need to win. Because again, just like F1, there's a whole technical staff. There's sponsorships. There's money. Like, there's a lot of things on the line, and we have to like get in. We have to lock in. He wasn't locking in. So a lot of people contributed to that. I contributed to that, and the fact that she likes him. Because at the end of the day, they're kind of polar opposites of each other. But when it comes to competing and doing what they do, they're very similar, and I think they get along. And I think their dynamic as just teammates, if nothing else, even forgetting the romance aspect that kind of, again, immediately kind of came second to the whole thing, as many series like this do, they still carried the whole show as like teammates. Like, I really do like the dynamic throughout the whole series. And again, I'm not just saying that because Michelle Rodriguez is in the show, but yeah, it's a very interesting show, man. 2005. I highly recommend, if you haven't watched it, still watch it. It's 26 episodes. You can definitely get through that. And you know, it's not like 100+ episode commitment I'm asking here for you here, but it's a fun show. It's a show that will probably get lost in the overall history of Cartoon Network shows, of course, even though it's a huge historical show or moment, at least in terms for American television. But that kind of went under the radar because it just happened to debut the same time as one of the biggest cultural iconic shows of all time in Naruto. So there's not much you can do about that. You're going to become second fiddle to Naruto every time, unless you're Dragon Ball Z. Like, unless you're Dragon Ball Z, you're second fiddle to Naruto. So there's nothing you can do about that. But it was amazing, and I'm going to start advocating. I think there should be a continuation of this series. If nothing else, it should be revamped, and we should get it going. I know Cartoon Network kind of died and dissolved its animation team. I mean, you know, Gumball's coming back, and that's going to Hulu, not Cartoon Network or HBO Max. Like, it's not going to Warner Bros. So I get we'll never get IGPX again, but it would be really cool, especially with how much people love F1, to reintroduce IGPX to the world and give as original series. So there's no source material. So I would either continue with the season 3 because I think there's so many stories you can do. There's so many storylines. There's a lot of cliches that are in sports that they didn't put in this series again because how short the runtime was, or in terms of the episode count. I mean, that you could add those in there and with its own twist of cybernetic driving fighting robots on a Grand Prix and add it to it and really have your own twist and make it very interesting. I think there would be a whole new, really cool audience for IGPX. So that's it for me geeking out as a short episode, but short series. Definitely check it out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share like always. See you on the next one. Peace.